Today we're going to be reviewing topics learned in reading and lecture from week 13 of spatial ecology. The largest premise we learned about was movement ecology, which is the study of movement and resource use as organisms navigate through space and time. This can identify the spatio-temporal scale of animal movement.
We also learned about different scales. Foraging movements have fine spatial and temporal scales. Foraging occurs at shorter distances and shorter intervals between each movement, more frequent changes in direction, and have larger range of variability. Seasonal migrations have medium spatial and temporal scales and can have longer interval distance and has less frequent changes in direction, as well as a smaller range of variability. And coarse spatial and temporal scales matter in range behavior.
Another concept was net square displacement, which is a measurement that can identify small-scale versus large-scale movements. This uses a variety of algorithms in R and other statistical software. One example was a paper from July 2000, which investigated how synanthropes, or animal species that are reliant on human development, moved in relation to human developments using net square displacement methods. Although this paper could not produce an exact formula for expected displacement with further developments, the relevance of this work was very well stated and did a good job at better understanding NSD.
One of the readings we did was called Population Variability in Space and Time. It talked about Moran's theorem, which states that the time and correlation of two separate populations of the same species is equal to the correlation between the environmental variabilities where they live, as well as linearization, which is finding the linear approximation to function at each given point, as well as spectral analysis. This is an analysis in terms of spectrum of frequencies.
The second reading was titled The Role of Landscape Connectivity, which had conclusions that recommended to approach connectivity at scales relative to conservation targets, to incorporate flexibility and anticipatory approaches into connectivity planning through sensitivity analysis, uncertainty analysis, and adaptive management, and to move forward on connective plans with stakeholder agreement and coordination, especially with a common set of well-articulated goals that are scale-appropriate and account for major drivers in landscape connectivity, especially anthropogenic influences and future climate change effects.